so the idea of this book came up. And of course, me being the lazy guy I am, I thought, I'm not going to write it because I don't know what I'm talking about. But if I went and found 25 project managers, it'd be really cool to... Did you hit that button? Thank you. It'd be really cool. Why do I ask? He did the last time. You'll do it this time. It'd be really cool to take them and put them in between the coverage. So gather up some really, really interesting project managers, experienced project managers from across North America and Australia and New Zealand, and answer the question, if I asked you for one piece of advice, what would it be? If I were a rookie and just getting into this business and just getting my PMP, I said, you know, you've been around for a while. What's the nugget? What's the key to your success as a project manager? One nugget. What would it be?
Confidence?
No, I'm not going to ask you guys because I got 25 people that answer it. If I do, we'll come back in a moment. We'll get you involved. So I went to them and asked them this question. Or even if I were an experienced project manager and looking for a leg up, looking for some help, this is the question I asked. We went to actually a lot more than 25 of them, but we did choose 25 of the answers. And we put them in this book called The Keys to Your Success, or Our Success, and with yours to take away. I wrote one of the chapters, and the chapters look like, the cover looks like that, obviously. The chapters look somewhat like this, with 7 blanks. The 7 blanks are where we're going to head tonight. I've chosen 7 chapters, and I want to highlight them as really cool nuggets that I think that we can all learn from as project managers. But there's some really good stuff we're not going to talk about. Leadership taken, not given. Do you know Chuck Sakala? Anyone? Gus Sakala. He's a project management consultant out of the US. Great guy. Moving from waterfall to agile. How many people get agile? Understand it, have read about it, know it, agile? You've had some agile presentations, I see. Folks, honestly, if you don't know what agile is all about, my first word of advice is go figure it out. Good people make great PMs. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Doug Bobinger, have you ever had Doug Bobinger speak here? Great guy out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. He talks about the Black Swan theory. Black Swan, anyone? Think your project, you go through all the risk assessment, you think about everything that could go wrong somewhere in the, make or break your project somewhere in the life cycle of your project. The Black Swan is one you wouldn't think of. The Black Swan is that thing that could happen once in 200 blue moons. But it could happen, and if it did, what would happen? If all the power went out of the East Coast of Eastern Canada for, what was it, 6 days? How many years ago was that? Remember that one? 2003, if we lost power, not just for a few hours, but for 6 days. If a plane flew into the 2 towers, if war broke out, if Russia decided to get nasty, things happen. Anyway, Black Swan. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about 7 of the chapters, and we're going to start with Catherine Daw at the top left, knowing your leadership style. We're going to then move on to a chapter by Paul Bergman, a buddy of mine, called Understand Scalability and Using Common Sense. You'll hear me say the word "duh" a couple of times in that one. Getting into the head of your sponsor, understanding the business, learning how to communicate clearly and succinctly. I've changed the title of that one. I'm not too sure what his title is called, but I call it now. Clearly and succinctly. Learning how to talk CXO language, and my little chapter, which is never go in alone.